You know, that could be another book. This book is about people who have come, not just, you know, they come and they've done well. They came from the most disastrous persecution, dictatorship, people wanting to kill them, not because of them personally, but because they were part of a group, and coming to Canada and finding that they could exist and live, and not only that, do very well, because we kind of let them come. I use this phrase, benevolent neglect, because that's the attitude I think Canada has towards people. We are generally very kind, and we don't want to hurt people, and we don't make a point of making them feel bad, but we leave them alone. And I think that's very important for acculturation. I think you need certain spaces, because I think a lot of trauma happens to people who've come out of situations like this. I feel it in myself, although for years and years and years I never recognized it. And that's a thing I share with everybody here. Every one of us had trauma, and we all deal with that trauma in our lives. Now, I was only 2.5, but you internalize that kind of trauma, and you also feel it from your parents if they've felt it. So when I hear about somebody who had to be given away by his mother when he was 5 years old into a network of people who said they were saving Jewish children, and she took that to be true, and luckily it was, but many people had to give away their children and they didn't know, and she had to give away her baby, who she'd just given birth to. I think when you go through situations like that, you share something with people. You share a feeling with them that things are not always what they seem to be, and not only that, but maybe you yourself have to make great efforts to be an integrated human being. Because sometimes, in order to get ahead, and I think that's true of a lot of people in this book, and including myself, in order to move ahead, you deny a lot of trauma, or you don't deal with it. You don't deal with it for the longest time, even though you're surrounded by it. And then when you come to deal with it, I think this book helps people to deal with that trauma, because they'll recognize in other people's stories that sort of thing. Now, as far as not having success, immigrants not having success, that is another story. But it's also the story of a lot of Canadians, a lot of people who are not immigrants. They don't become successful. And this isn't a book about success. This is really a book about overcoming certain kinds of setbacks. The most terrible one being that everything is taken away from you, and you are there just one human being or a little group of human beings. And your basic identity has been denied, and you are called a refugee, and you have nothing. And everything you built up and worked for, like my family. My father had come from nothing. He left school when he was 10, and by the time he was 32, he had his own little business. He was doing very well in Hong Kong, and suddenly the war comes, everything goes, and everything is taken away from you very visibly. And in a war situation such as my parents lived through, when the occupier comes into your city and takes everything and loots your apartment and then sells all your things in the street, and you are made to go into the street and watch the victors go by and your things sold. Your dog returns to the apartment with human entrails coming out of its mouth because it's been feeding on people who've been killed in battle, etc. You don't get over that very easily. And you come to a country which is very comfortable. You come to a country where people, have everything. And even in the poor country that Canada was in the Second World War, we came to a country where at least everybody had food and everybody had coverings, and my father was able to get a little job, and we were able to start again and make our life. But I think those of us who reflect on this know that that's a matter of chance too, and luck and circumstance, and that it behooves us to understand that not everybody can do that.